Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Hart DFS. I make daily NBA slate breakdowns on Draftkings, as well as daily NBA prize pick videos. So, a lot of content for you guys to enjoy. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. I do appreciate all you guys' support. Follow me on Twitter, Hart DFS, putting up my core plays for Draftkings, which have been pretty decent since I started making these videos, especially in the playoffs. And then my extra prize pick plays or just prize pick plays for the day. So definitely make sure to follow me there. Doing a giveaway once I hit 300 plus Twitter followers and 500 plus YouTube subscribers. So that should be coming up here shortly. Maybe in another week I should get there. So do appreciate all you guys subscribing and hitting that like button. Let's look back at my lineup for today. Just did a single entry $5 one. Was pretty busy with Mother's Day, obviously, so I wasn't able to enter a little bit more. But talked about in my video how I really liked Embiid, Harden as a dart throw because no one's gonna play him, and then Jimmy. Obviously, I only went to Embiid, which didn't pay off at all. But Harden got like 55 fancy points. Jimmy obviously got, I think he got like 61. So both great plays. I should have just listened to myself in these videos, my slate breakdowns from earlier in the day, but I don't. I kind of get risky with it, and it hasn't been paying off, as you can tell. But just want to tilt here for a second. Kyle Lowry, super low owned, decent spot going against Tyrese Maxey. He just went 3 of 10, couldn't score. Hurt his hamstring. He was just hobbling around the second half, just super frustrating, in a great spot, just did nothing. It's just classic Kyle Lowry. Dinwiddie, low owned. Told you guys, Dinwiddie's the guy I would take a shot on out of all the mix on the Mavs side. 22 fancy points in the first half. Was doing amazing. I think he played 3 or less minutes in the second half. 3 or less in the second half. Got, I think, 1 rebound. That's all he got. 22, fancy points. Finished with getting 1 fancy point. It's just so annoying. Smashing. Doing amazing. Doesn't play at all in the second half. Doesn't get me any fancy points. So that's annoying. Talked about DFS and Reggie Bullock. I end up going with, DFS just because he's got that safer floor when it comes to points and rebounds. And ended up working out. He hit 8 threes. Pretty huge. The 2 games I played Tucker, he goes for less than 10 fancy points in both. So that's why I just never play him. He just sucks. Embiid, great spot. Should be at least 60% owned. I know the Miami defense does like to zone. They'll throw guys on him, but it's Embiid. And the reason why he didn't was solely because of coaching, solely because of Doc Rivers and the team not giving Embiid the ball. First quarter, I think he puts up 15 points, like 3 rebounds. Plays the whole quarter, comes back in with about 6-ish minutes, 7 minutes left in the third quarter. I think it was around 6. I think he touched the ball 2 times, or I think it was 3. 2 of them being on the outside perimeter, and 1 of them being on the elbow. That's not going to do with anything for Embiid. Obviously, he's good at the elbow, but give him some low post touches. I know they're trying to hedge off, double team him, all that stuff, but he was open so many times. Really didn't do anything the rest of the game. Scored 9 more points. Got some rebounds. That was really it. So very frustrating, that low owned spot. 10 times out of 10, I'd go back to him. 9,800, 22% owned. It's too easy not to pass that up. And we just kind of got unlucky with the floor game for Embiid. Luca, I decided to go to Luca. He's probably the safest play on the slate, 11K. Obviously super popular, did okay. Cam Johnson did okay, mostly because CP3 got hurt or fouled out, and then Strus, a little bit popular of value play, got 6 fouls, fouled out, wasn't really able to do anything on the offensive end, so missed catch by 10 points, which is frustrating. But for the whole grand scheme of things, been giving out some great advice. I should probably start listening to myself when it comes to these slate breakdowns, but expect to get back to the winning ways for tomorrow and giving out a core for you guys to use. The cores have been great when I've been putting them out. The past few times where I haven't been putting them out, I haven't been able to cash. So going to put one out for you guys tomorrow because it's been good luck. And let's hop into the slate for today. Also, I hate CP3. That's all I'm going to say. I hate that dude. Lost me so much money. But Boston, Milwaukee, this is going to be a very popular game. Obviously, it's very popular because it's only 2-game slate. But when it comes to just how much ownership is going to be on this game, is going to be huge, just due to the fact that Ja is, I don't think he's 100% ruled out. They said he's most likely unlikely going to play. I'm recording this the night before, so definitely wait for the news tomorrow to make any of your decisions, obviously. But really like Tatum, 9-7. Played 41 minutes, shot 4 of 19. Horrendous game from him. 24 fantasy points. I'm one of those people, as I always mention in my videos, I like buying low off of guys who just come off of terrible games, or they're on a little bad shooting streak, bad few games in a row. So I really like Tatum today. I really expect a bounce back spot for him. It's nice to see that he was still super aggressive even when he was shooting so bad. His rebounds were down because of it. His assists were down. Did have 4 blocks, which really helped out his fantasy points. Otherwise, he would have had like 15 for the game. But yeah, I really like the bounce back spot for him. And I do like Jaylen Brown a decent amount as well. Even if Tatum is doing Tatum things, taking over, Brown is still able to get you there. Obviously, he's kind of capped if Tatum is leading the team, but he's alongside of him, he's done great. So I don't mind getting to him at 8,200. Al Horford prices came up to 6,600. Talked about how I really liked him in that spot. Last game, absolutely smashed. So price is up there now at 6,600. I'd say he's more of like a secondary play for me. Obviously, he's going to play the minutes. It just comes down if he's hitting his shots. He shot it pretty well last game. And he got a little bit more than his average rebounds, a couple blocks, some assists. So he kind of had like a ceiling game for him, but it was a great spot for him, 5,900. Price comes up $700, and I think a lot of people will get scared of that, but it's kind of the same situation. Now, Tatum is most likely not going to go 4-19 and just have one of his worst games of the season. And so some of that usage obviously goes, drips down to guys like Brown and Horford. So you could, make an argument that Horford is going to lose some touches there, but I don't mind if you go back to the well with Horford at 6,600. Guy I like taking a shot on is Marcus Smart. I played him in one of my lineups. Obviously, he did horrendous in his first game back, but the minutes are there, the shots are there. He just played bad. So I do like buying back on Marcus Morris. I don't know why. It's a little late, sorry. Marcus Smart is what I mean. So do like Marcus Smart a decent amount at 5,800. Robert Williams, I've talked about him every game. 23 minutes, 32 fantasy points. It's just one of those where he can't put a full game together yet. It's, either he does well in the first half or he does well in the second half. He can never do well the whole game. It's just not the best game script when it comes to trying to guard Giannis. The offensive is just kind of flowing through Tatum and Brown up top. They're not really doing pick and rolls with Robert Williams as much as they used to. So I still think it's worth it taking a shot on him at 5,200. As I always mention, he can easily pay that off into the 40s. So I don't mind him at 5,200. Grant Williams, always had to mention him just because of the minutes. Didn't shoot well, still got you 25 fantasy points because he got 3 blocks. Obviously, that's a little bit of an outlier. He's gotten that before. But yeah, 4,300. If you want to go there, you can. I'm not sure if I will. It's just I hate playing him. And then Derek White came off the bench. Did a little bit more than usual just because of Tatum. I do think you should see his minutes trying to kind of drop back down to around 15-ish, maybe 20 at most, but I don't see him coming in and scoring 14 points. So I don't think you need to go there at 3,900. That really does it for me. I'd say my favorite play is Tatum, Marcus Smart, Horford, and Brown are tied. So Tatum and Marcus Smart are my favorite plays, and then Horford and Brown are kind of the secondary plays for me. On the Milwaukee side, Giannis looks great, 11-4. We've seen him, shoot 9-25, 11-27. Still get you 64 fantasy points, 51. Last game he shoots way better, 16-30, 77 fantasy points. So I have no issue with going back to Giannis. It's just kind of if you find value to be able to play him, because he's been going off. I expect nothing less than him to put up at least 55 plus fantasy points. Drew Holiday, always talk about how in this series they need a number 2. He's been that guy. Shot it 30 times last game. Shot it horrible. but, got you there, 46 fantasy points. He's going to do, some steals, some blocks. He's a great defensive point guard, but he also can score when he needs to. 3 straight games of 20-plus shots. Last game, 30. 8K for him. Not a lot of people are going to play him. I don't know why. They just rather play guys like Jaylen Brown or other people kind of in that range. But for the less ownership, I don't mind getting to Holiday once again. Great spot for him. All the shots in the world should be there for him. Bobby Portis came off the bench, 26 minutes, shot it 9 times. It's just kind of one of those mid-range plays, even when he did start and got, 32 minutes, he kind of capped around 12 shots. Wasn't shooting it the best. Maybe he gets it a little bit more if he's shooting his threes as well. Usually a good 3-point shooter. So if you want to take the shot on Bobby, he can get you close to 40 fantasy points, maybe a little bit higher if he's having a great game. 18 points, 16 rebounds, as you see right here. So I don't mind it at 6K, especially if you want to get off, chalky Horford. So if you want to go that route, pivot off of Horford to Bobby Portis, I think that's a pretty decent play. Brook Lopez kind of had a revived his game, his series with that last game, 5 of 10, 13 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. So he's foul prone. I just don't think I'm going to get to him at 4,600. Obviously, he's worth mentioning, worth playing if you want to, but I feel like that's kind of his ceiling. He was going off and then he just starts fouling. I just think it's too hard for him to, do anything above that. Grayson Allen, if you want to buy low on a guy, Grayson Allen is the man. Kind of 4 straight games. Obviously, he shot the ball well in the first 2, but the past 2 games, 28 minutes, 25, 2 of 4, over 3. He's just not really involved in the offense. It's pretty much just gone through Giannis and Drew. I don't expect that to change, but I do expect Grayson to get, a few more wide open shots, be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to 3. They've done well on the defensive end when it comes to, allowing Grayson to shoot the 3. But I just expect him to kind of figure it out, do a little better. And at 4,200, I don't mind getting to him as a lower owned value play. Pat Connorton, going to be super chalk once again. Just a 3-and-D guy, most likely. Going to come in there and get you around, 5-ish rebounds. If he's in his threes, maybe 12 points. So 3,600, you're going to be extremely, extremely, high owned in the tournaments tomorrow. But, 3,600, I think you have to play that. Wes Matthews gets minutes, but he doesn't score, so it's not worth it fancy-wise. And, yeah, where is he? Where did, I forget his name. What's his name? George Hill. 3K, played 11 minutes. Maybe he gets, more minutes. Didn't shoot the ball. He's not going to really come in there and be heavy on offense or defense. He'll probably, at most get you 20 minutes. But he can get you, maybe he knocks down a few, 1 or 2 threes, maybe a layup. He's going to, be a pass-first guy. So at 3K, very minimum. Definitely worth a dart throw if you want to jam some of the stars in there. I'd say definitely throw in, throwing him in just because he's so cheap at 3,000. But I just don't see how he gets there unless he has a really good game and a guy like Drew Holiday gets in foul trouble or is just playing horrendous. But yeah, I'd just say if you were trying to jam in a bunch of stars, definitely look to him as some value. Otherwise, I wouldn't go there. Now the Memphis game. Huge news is obviously the Ja news. He's doubtful, but we'll have to see. Let's just assume he's out. This game has huge risk of a blowout potential. Obviously, the Memphis Grizzlies, I can't even talk. Memphis Grizzlies on the season were 21-2 without Ja. So they're a great team, but I think it's just a little bit different when it comes to the playoffs, especially playing in Golden State. I just don't know how they're going to be able to handle any of those guys without the scoring from Ja. As guys like, Jackson Jr. foul prone, Bane's been bad, Brooks is back, but I just, it makes it tough without Ja. So let's say he's out. Jaren Jackson Jr., once again, has that, ceiling of around 50 fantasy points, but he's just super foul prone. Not the best shooter. We got him, if you guys played him here, 2 back-to-back decent shooting games. And then now we have 2 back-to-back poor shooting games, which is kind of the norm for him. The defense on the Warriors is really good. So a guy who's usually not the best shooter, getting, a hard Warriors D, it just doesn't really, add up to be a good play. I can't even talk. Sorry, guys, if you're listening to this. Really struggling to talk, but Jaren Jackson Jr., I don't think I'd play him. It looks a decent spot. He's taller than everyone on the Golden State side. It's just he's not the best shooter. Bane, I really like Bane. I know he's screwed me the multiple times I've took him in prize picks. The multiple times I've played him on DFS, basically the past 3. But it's just without Ja, as we can see, Bane has massive, massive upside. If they're going to keep this game close, it's going to be because of Bane leading the way. So I do like him a good amount today. Now, I understand if you guys don't want to go there, you don't have to. You don't have to follow me into the depths of hell with Bane, but I got to go back one more time before I get, burned too much to the point where I don't play him. But, don't mind him. Don't mind getting into Dillon Brooks. Obviously, a lot of these Memphis guys are going to be super high owned if Ja's out. Does leave a lot of usage to go around. Guys like Bane are going to step up. Same with Dillon Brooks. He's probably going to shoot a ton. A little scoring dependent, so even at that low price for him, he could go out there and get you 25 points and only 25 fantasy points. Or I guess I should say around 30, but at that price, not that bad. Brandon Clark prices come down. Hasn't done well at all. Always worth a mention just because of what he did in that first series, but kind of, doesn't really fit in the scheme in the first, few games for this series. Melton, probably going to be like 50+% owned, with good reason. He's the better scoring guard of him and Tyus Jones. If Ja's out, Melton's going to start. Tyus Jones is going to be super, low or high owned as well. 3,400, a great assist first point guard. Kind of do it all, as we saw in games where he started. He has huge upside. I think there's these games, 30, 34, 26, 37, 21, 46. So it's going to be hard not to play, at least one of them, if not both of them. Obviously, a little risky with the blowout potential, but I think you're going to need to get some value plays from this side. Really like both of them. Steven Adams, not playable. Cal Anderson, I just wouldn't play him. It'd be, Zaire Williams, I think people are going to get off of him and go to guys like Tyus Jones and Melton, but I don't mind getting back to him. Shot 3 of 8, played 30 minutes. He's a lob threat. He can get you rebounds and assists, so I don't mind going there. Kind of getting off the ownership if you want to get a little cute, but if you don't, obviously just play Tyus Jones and Melton, and that really does it for me. It's pretty much just these 3 guys on the Memphis side that I do really like. Golden State side. Steph at 9,400, pretty much the same thing I said every series or every slate for him. Just a little too cheap. He really hasn't had like a ceiling game yet. Only shot the ball 14 times last game. Still got you 30 points. 14 and 14 from the line. So always love Steph Curry under 10K. Thompson talked about going there. Had a pretty decent game shooting the ball, rebounding, assists. So 7,400. In this spot, I think it's just a little too risky to play these guys. Now, maybe you assume that risk and it works out, but I just think it's a tad too risky for me to play a guy like Thompson at his price in this, matchup where it could blow out. Jordan Poole, I'd say he'd be my second favorite play. It's just, he's done amazing. 59, 30, 35. Obviously, he does lose some usage when it comes to like rebounding, assists, just because Steph's there, Clay's still there. But he's coming in and just shooting a ton, scoring well. So it's 7,100. It's not like the best play because, 5 times you need him to hit, 35 fantasy points, which he did last game. The game before that he didn't. So I don't mind getting him at 7,100. It's just his price and production are pretty much on par. So it's like it doesn't really help you or hurt you to play him at that spot. But I just don't see a ceiling game from him unless, both Clay and Steph are doing terrible, and I just don't expect that to happen. Draymond Green been super frustrating on the offensive end, not doing much. Obviously, that's not his role, but it's just at 6,400, I always talk about with, all 3 guys in there, he can get you that triple-double upside, but I don't think I'd get there. Andrew Wiggins, always worth mentioning just because of kind of the minutes. minutes were down. They did blow them out, so they didn't really need them. Shot the ball well, which you do like to see. You can usually expect around 35-ish, 38 minutes. Not going to do too much, but pretty decent at rebounding, scoring down low. So 5,900, okay play there. Otto Porter, I played him. I think I played him the past 3 slates. Got me 12, 22, 19. Didn't play him the last game. Goes off at 29. So don't think you can expect that again. But okay value play 4,100. Kuminga maybe gets more run just because of don't look at this. He played like 10 minutes in the first 3 quarters. Wasn't doing anything. Got a ton of run, obviously, in that 4th quarter with the blowout towards the end. But yeah, I want to pay attention to this and think he had a great game. He didn't. But at 3,300, if this game does blow out, he's a guy who's going to come in and kind of stuff the stat sheet. So if you want to get, play for the blowout, which I don't recommend, you can do that. But that really does it for me. Really, really like obviously targeting the first game because the odds of it staying closer are a lot higher than second game, but it's gonna be filled with a lot of super popular plays. And yeah, so it's kind of comes down to you guys' risk tolerance. If you want to get cute, kind of fade all the chalky plays and get different, that's usually what I do. It hasn't worked out yet, but I don't mind you guys doing that for today's slate. So I think right now we'll throw in Tatum. It's really hard to. I'll throw Giannis in right now. So this is kind of looking. This will probably be a super popular build, but this is what I really like as of right now. Tyus, Melton, Tatum, Giannis, and Bane. We got to keep an eye out on the Ja Morant news. But until then, follow me on Twitter, HeartDFS. Throw me a like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the support. Sorry for all the stuttering and kind of just nonsense. It's a little late. Super tired today. But I will see you guys later today for an NBA Prize Pick video. Peace.